Okay, so we're going to talk about is important facts relating to scheduled commercial banks. Okay, so let us understand as we were talking about scheduled banks, and today we're going to talk about some very important facts to related to scheduled commercial banks. So yes, and we will talk each and every one and one point, like why and what are the important facts which are very important related to UPSC. Okay, so the first one, in terms of business, public sector banks dominate the Indian banking. Okay, then the next one is PSB, that is the public sector banks, accounts for close to 50% of total assets. Okay, then 70% of deposits and close to 70% of the advances. Okay, so let me go to the third point. Okay, the third point. So then, as I said, now one more important point is among the public sector banks, that is PSBs, SBI and its associates has the very important point. This is, students, has the highest number of branches. Okay, now the fourth is the committee of RRB, that is Regional Rural Bank, is headed by M. Narasimham. Okay, and he is the one who has recommended the the regional rural banks. So recommended the setting up of RRBs for the purpose of providing rural credit. So as I said, amongst the PSB, that is Punjab National, the first thing what I said in terms of business, public sector banks dominate the Indian banking system, and 50% of the total assets, that is 70% of deposits, close to 70% of the assets and advances is given by, that is the public sector banks. And the third thing is that among the SBIs or among the PSB, SBI and its associate has the highest number of branches. And the fourth one, as I said, is the committee of RRB headed by M. Narasimham recommended the setting up of RRBs for the purpose of providing rural credit. So rural credit was done by M. Narasimham. So that is very important. Another thing, let me clear this. So another thing is, an RRB is sponsored. So I told you that rural banks have to be sponsored by some public sector banks. So RRB is sponsored by a public sector bank which also provides a part of its share capital. Now, for example, if there is Maharashtra Gramin Bank, it will be sponsored by Punjab National Bank or any public sector bank which is there in Maharashtra. And RRBs are, they set up to eliminate other unorganized financial institutions in the villages, like money lenders, and supplement the efforts of, cooperative banks. So mostly in the villages, RRBs are in the form of cooperative banks. Okay. So the next one, the private commercial banks account for close to 1/4 of the assets of the total banking assets. Okay. So as I told you also that, basically if you talk about it also that, and when we have spoken that, why RRB was, a flop show, and, because of this there was a bill which was passed in the parliament, and it is also called as the RRB Amendment Bill 2014. So various changes had been done because RRB was not functioning, and we had discussed this in the previous class also. So now I'm going to talk about is non-scheduled banks. Okay, so let me just rub this. So we all spoken about scheduled banks, we spoke about RRBs, we spoke about the new bill of 2014 of the RRB amendment bill, and now we're going to talk about non-scheduled banks. Okay, as I told you, non-scheduled banks are having only 30% of the shareholding. Mostly 70% finance is dominated by the public sector banks. Okay, now let's talk about the next one, that is non-scheduled banks. Okay, now what is non-scheduled banks? So let us see. So non-scheduled banks by definition are those which are not listed in the second schedule of the RBI Act 1934. Okay, so that is the first point. Let's see the second point. Now, what is a non-scheduled bank? So let's see the next one also. So banks with a reserve capital of less than 5 lakh rupees qualify as, so anybody who has a paid up capital or reserve capital of 5 lakhs, less than 5 lakhs, they can become a non-scheduled bank. So qualify as non-scheduled banks. Okay, so this is the third point, second point. Let's go with the third point. Okay, yes, so the third point is, now unlike scheduled banks, okay, they are, so you cannot borrow anything. So this is a very important and vital point. So they are not entitled to borrow from the RBI for normal banking purposes. Okay, so they are not entitled to borrow from the RBI for normal banking purposes. Any normal transaction, they are not, at that moment of time they cannot borrow. But there is an exception here. So except in emergency of abnormal circumstances. So any abnormal circumstances, that time only they can borrow the loan, or they can borrow from the RBI. The fourth one, now talking about Jammu and Kashmir. So Jammu and Kashmir before the 370 bill. So Jammu and Kashmir Bank is an example of non-scheduled, very very famous Jammu and Kashmir Bank, JNK, non-scheduled commercial Bank. So it has branches even all over India, Jammu and Kashmir commercial banks. Now under this we will talk about is cooperative banks. Okay, so let me just wrap this. So this we spoke about non-scheduled. Now we will talk about cooperative banks. Okay, so just let me wrap this. Yes. So now we will talk about is cooperative banks. Now cooperative banks, they operate both in urban and non-urban areas. So let me write down the first point. So cooperative banks operate in both urban and non-urban areas. The first point. The second one is all banks registered under the Cooperative Societies Act 1912 are considered cooperative banks. Okay, so all banks registered under the Cooperative Society Act, that is in 1912, are considered to be as cooperative bank. Let's see the third point. Okay, so let's see the third point. Now in the urban centers, that is in the cities, they, cooperative banks are there in the cities also, but what is their profile and what is their work there? Okay, so they mainly finance entrepreneurs, small businessmen and big businessmen. Okay, small businesses, industries, so industries, self-employment, and also help to home loans. So they give home loans also, so home buying, and also educational loans. Okay, now what about the rural sector? So let us see. In rural areas, they help, obviously, because in rural areas that is agriculture activity, so they help in agriculture based activities such as farming, livestock, dairies, then hatcheries, etc. Okay, so basically in rural areas is a very opposite of what they do for urban areas. Okay, because in rural areas mostly it is all agriculture based activities such as farming, then livestock, then dairies, then hatcheries. Okay, now let's come to the fifth point. Okay, so we'll go to the fifth point. Now we are still speaking about cooperative banks, so let me share some more inputs about cooperative bank. Now they I meant to say is cooperative bank, so they also extend loans to small scale units, cottage industries, and self-employment activities like artisanship. So skilled people who are into potteries or into sculpting or into painting, and also they also give encouragement to artisanship also. Okay, Now, and they are not much of profit oriented, unlike the commercial banks. They are not much driven by profit, okay, and that is why it is mostly non-profit basis. So let me write down here. So unlike commercial banks who are